morning. Lelia here, also known as Miss Mindset. I'm here with ReFocus so we can come together and rethink, recreate, and rebuild. Sitting here to my right, oh man, y'all, this is my guest. This is Nolan Bukowski. This young man is running for alderman for the 6th Ward. Welcome, Nolan.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am wonderful. Drop my water. I'm wonderful. So, Nolan, if I may, how old are you?
I'm 18 years old.
18 years old, and you grew up here
Yep.
in Kankakee?
Yep. Lived in Kankakee my whole life.
Okay. So, let me ask you, what was it like growing up here in Kankakee?
You know, Kankakee is really different for everyone. There's so many different walks of life here, but I found that while Kankakee does have its good and bad sides, that in the end, the good definitely outweighs the bad. There's lots of good people here, from people who own businesses to people who have lived here their entire lives. Some people have moved here recently. Some have lived here, like I said, for their entire lives. And I believe that in the end, everybody wants the city to succeed, and they want to find new and fresh ways to do that.
I totally agree. So, what actually pushed you or inspired you to get into politics and start looking towards running for alderman?
Yeah, well, that started when I was about 14. I started to take a look around in my community and I thought, what could I do to make a difference? Because at the time I wasn't old enough to run, so I was able to get involved and volunteer, starting my own organization called the Kankakee Cleanup Crew, where we did projects for residents and other organizations within the city of Kankakee. And I knew at 16 that I wanted to run for office. And so then
At
from
what
then
age?
at 16.
At 16.
Yeah, I knew I wanted to run for alderman at that age, so I started to prepare myself then to run.
Wait, what age did you start like surrounding yourself with those of politics and seeing how everything was ran?
Around 16. So
Okay,
when,
okay.
yeah, around that time, that's when Chris Curtis was running for mayor. So I got involved on his campaign, and that's where I was first introduced kind of into the world of politics, at least within Kankakee. And since then, I've gotten to know more and more people on both sides of the aisle with that I knew that could help me with my campaign, or that I knew I could learn from as they had run successful campaigns, or they knew what it takes to win a campaign like that. And I took a look at past elections to see where people have succeeded and where they have failed, and I've implemented that into my own campaign so that I could avoid making some of the same mistakes that others had made, but also to learn from and to make a better campaign.
That is awesome. I don't know about y'all, but when I first met Nolan, having a conversation blew my mind. It just to hear a young man of the age of 18 actually have so much love and passion for his city. Like, I love Kankakee. I wasn't born here. I was born in Hawaii, but I moved here. I was 12. And growing up, like you said, there's, different things going on here and there. And I grew to love where I come from. When you compare visiting to other places, it's like there's no place like home. And
Exactly.
this is definitely our home.
Mhm.
So, Nolan, how does your family feel about this?
Well, my dad has always been supportive of all my ambitions. He always told me to do whatever makes me happy, and this is what I enjoy doing, and it brings me great joy to do it because I know that in the end it will not only be worth it, but I believe that someone has to step up and do it in cases like these, because unfortunately there's not always somebody willing to step up and to do either what is right or what is necessary sometimes, because it's hard. It's truly a commitment to run for office because you open yourself up to all sorts of criticism. People could come out and attack you, and in some cases, some politicians or people are threatened, or they fear for their safety with that. So it is definitely a big commitment with that, but it's definitely one that I'm willing to take because I believe that it will be beneficial, not just to myself, but to everyone in my community like that. So, but my family has definitely been supportive with that. So, and I've appreciated all their support.
That's great. That's great. So, Sixth Ward, is that an area you chose or is that where you grew up?
That's where I currently reside and have reside for
Okay.
my entire life in Kankakee. So,
Okay, okay, okay. Any siblings?
no siblings. I'm an only child. So,
Ah,
yeah.
okay.
Unless you count my two cats as siblings, then.
Well, how long have they been around? They grew
Let's
up
see,
with you?
the one is 10 years old and the other is about a year and a half year old. So
The
one and a half.
10-year-old is definitely a brother.
Yeah, well, that would be my sister, and then the one
Oh,
and a half.
sister.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
the 1.5 year old would be my brother then. So,
What's their names?
got Rachel as the 10 year old, and then Donald is the 1.5 year old.
Definitely family.
Oh yeah, no
That's
doubt about it.
funny. Oh man. So I know a lot of times, there's a lot of people within the community when there are issues and questions, and they reach out
Hmm.
to certain people and they're not able to get a response, get in touch with anybody. They're
Hmm.
constantly leaving messages after messages.
Yeah.
Like when they come to you, how are you different when it comes to a lot of the other members?
Yeah, well, when it comes to that, the main thing I do that some or most don't do is I actually reply. I may not know the answer right away, but I know if I don't know the answer, I know somebody who does, or I know where I can find the answer with that. So I reach out to that person to find out the answer. Otherwise, if I know it myself, I will give it to them. But I think it's just important that we respond to those who have a question because, like you said, they may keep messaging us or other people to find the answer. So it's like, it's better to answer them. But, the point of the matter is that you should answer someone, especially if you are a public official and a resident in your district has a question, you should answer their question regardless. But like I said, if you don't know, then it's up to you to find out because that's why you were put in that position.
Oh my goodness. So just in case, again, this is Nolan Bukowski running for alderman in the Sixth Ward. Just putting that out there. Oh my goodness. All right, Nolan. So what are your plans as far as, because I know a lot of us question like what's going on with the budget, where's the money? We got things going on, things
Mhm.
being torn down, not being rebuilt.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, as far as economic development and the whole budget goes, I believe that there have been a lot of the areas in the city of Kankakee that have been somewhat either neglected or just not treated or given any attention at all. I believe that we put a great focus on our downtown, and for good reason. I believe the downtown is definitely key to Kankakee when it comes to that. That is where people could either want to open up a business, to live, to move to. The reason they come to Kankakee is what they see in the downtown. So of course our downtown, should be nice, but at the same time we shouldn't be neglecting the east, west, north, or south sides of our town because those are the areas that people come into Kankakee from. If you're from Bourbonnais or Bradley and you're visiting Kankakee, you see the north side. If you're from Limestone, you see the west side. If you're from Momence, Sun River Terrace, you see the east side. And if you're from, Iroquois County or anywhere, you see the south side when you come in. So it's important that we have those areas built up and looking nice as well, so that we can not only attract people to move to our city, but to give them a good image of our city because so many people think poorly of Kankakee who are not from here. And so we need to fight against that mindset because Kankakee is by no means perfect, but it is a lot better than people give it credit for.
Definitely. 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 Well, I'm sure there's many of us as well as ourselves. We're rolling with Nolan.
Oh, yeah.
Now let me ask, where did that come from?
I've always had a thing for just kind of rhyming things. I'm not like a poet or anything, but I wanted to come up with a phrase that would help people to remember my name when it came on election day, but also to represent what I stand for. And I consider myself a progressive candidate because I believe that progress is what people want to see, not only in the Sixth Ward, but in the city of Kankakee. And so I want them to not only remember my name with that, but I want them to know that when I'm your alderman, I will get things rolling that have not been going for years or decades or any time before.
Definitely. Rolling with Nolan. That definitely had a ring. And when I first read that,
Hmm.
it stuck
Yeah,
immediately. It
yeah,
really stuck. It
yeah.
really stuck.
And then that's the whole plan there. So it means it worked.
It really did. So what are what are some of your goals as far as our youth? Because there's nothing for them to do. Everything that they had, the skating rink gone,
Mhm.
the bowling alley, that kind of turns into something for the adults.
Yeah.
What do you foresee perhaps, if we get together, like what could possibly happen?
Yeah, well, when it comes to the youth, they are probably one of the most underserved parts of our community here in Kankakee.
Definite.
They don't have a lot to do. There's not a lot of options with that. So I want to create more, activities and opportunities for them, especially during the summer and winter times. There's not a lot going on when kids are out of school or when they're on break, when it comes to things like that. And so, they need something to do. Otherwise, that's why some of them get in trouble now, or why they end up joining gangs or getting in trouble, or just getting a bad record with that. And they not every child has a good influence, and so we need to make sure that we are mentoring our kids and teaching them how to be good citizens when it comes to that, so that they can grow up to be responsible adults and contribute to society and make Kankakee a better place for everyone.
I definitely agree. I definitely agree. So we do foresee some things coming for our youth. Um, and I definitely foresee, Nolan, you making that happen, and with all of us behind the ideas, the mission, the purpose, the reasons, the why. I mean, what more could you ask for? This is Nolan. Oh my goodness, Nolan. So, okay, now the schools, there's a lot of things going on with different schools, some, there's budget that's more so going over here versus
Mhm.
where there's really issues and problems.
Yeah.
Um, let's speak on that.
Yeah, so when it comes to the schools, I do believe we have a lot of good teachers and we have a lot of students who want to learn and want to do better. But if we don't put the resources that we have in the right place, then that's not possible. When it comes to certain things, I know recently they were building a new sports center, our area
I'm
behind
so glad you brought
the
that
high
up.
school there.
Yes,
Yeah.
because all of us wants to know.
Yeah,
Yes.
so they're building that, and I still think it's a good thing if kids are into sports, or they're good at it and they want to use that to succeed and get a scholarship. They should
Uh-huh.
have stuff like that. But I believe that when it comes to things like that, we need to make sure that we are spending our money wisely and not putting all of our resources on one thing or doing one bet with all of our money. We need to spread it more to other things. So rather than putting all our money into a new sports complex, put some of it in there, but also take what we have left and invest that into other areas. Because like none of our schools, as far as I can remember, have even air conditioning or anything like that. So
Yeah.
it's like we can use that to put air conditioning, and obviously not in all of our schools right now, but if we take some of that money, maybe we can air condition one school this year, another the next, and come up with something of a plan to do that. Because it's like, if we want our students to succeed, how can we expect them to succeed and thrive when they can't even beat the heat in a day at
You
school?
can't even think.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you have to be able to think, to create,
Yeah,
to build.
exactly.
Focus.
Hmm.
See, Nolan, look. So you mentioned the budget and putting it towards one thing. So how much actually went towards this project?
If I remember, it was somewhere between 24 and 27 million there. The school received, I think it was part of the American Rescue Plan, or one set of funds that was set out. And so they took that entire amount and put that in there. And like I said, we obviously do need to invest into things like sports, but I don't see a case where we take almost an entire year's equivalent to a city budget to put it into one project like that, and especially without asking, the parents of the school district what they would like to see. I think that we need to make sure that whether we're on a school board, city council, anything in our area here, that we need to make sure we're asking our residents and the people that we represent what they would like to see, because as the elected officials, we are the ones who are selected by the people. So it is our job to listen to them and to represent them, not ourselves, when we're in those positions.
Yes. Okay. That's a lot of money.
Hmm.
And that all of that went towards that one project.
Hmm.
Let me ask you, if you had that money, if you had access, if they gave that to you, what would you have done with it?
Well, like I said, I probably would have started with air conditioning the schools, because I do believe that is one of our biggest issues here in Kankakee. Like you said, it's hard to think when it's hot, when your brain is being quite literally fried in the
Literally,
summer. Then
yes.
it's pretty hard to focus on a test, to do well in school. And I do believe that's one of the reasons that some of our kids aren't able to do better here in Kankakee with that. And so I believe that that is the first step to solving many of the issues that our students face here in Kankakee.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, Nolan. So, as far as the schools and as far as the levels of education that's going on, because there are those who their textbooks are very different. What are your thoughts on that?
I think we need to have something of a kind of standard or regular curriculum that everyone can follow with that. We need to make sure that what we are teaching, one grade or class, we're teaching everyone with that, because everybody still needs the same set of skills to succeed in life. So we need to make sure that every student is equipped with the knowledge they need to succeed after school, in the workforce, and in life when it comes to contributing to society.
Nolan Bukowski, rolling with Nolan. All right, Nolan. Well, it was a pleasure. The first time I met you, it's been a pleasure going back and forth corresponding with you.
Yeah.
And it's been a pleasure now. And I can't wait for the future things that you have ahead. I know we're all going to meet at Beckman Park,
Yep.
and go ahead and one-on-one with the community.
Yeah.
Um, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Rolling with Nolan, y'all.
Proof of failure. You just gotta let them flow without judge. There's so many ways to be